Good morning. Welcome to the Monday edition of the NBA Betting Show. With me, as always, Matt Meiselman. Mike Lockheed will be back with us tomorrow. We'll have the gang together. I am Mike G. Matt, we're going to jump straight to today. There's some bets that we're recommending right now. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about Denver because I tweeted about this one, and this will serve as a reminder for people who are not following me on Twitter I think people should have push notifications on for my Twitter account if they're serious about betting because I'm just putting the information there. So I'm just going to pull up the tweet so you can see it.
Yeah, and this one, while you're pulling it up, so this is -9.5 right now, and we're still recommending at least a unit bet at 3.4 points of value. You were saying last night what the projected line was going to be, and you could have gotten this at -8.5 last night, right?
Yeah. So that's what I did, a 1-unit bet at -8.5. It turns out I probably should have bet more than that at that number because the projected line is coming in at 13. And yeah, I'm never going to know exactly what projected lines look like the day before because the minutes for teams fluctuate. And the Lakers right now are a little bit different than what they normally are because Austin Reeves is out. He has missed a game or two, but the rotations have been in flux. Troy Brown has been in and out of the lineup. The ratings are moving a bit. So I guess this is basically the worst version of the Lakers that we can get with LeBron playing. Like it's LeBron and all of their worst players because the three best players on this team are Davis, then LeBron, and then Reeves. So they're missing number 1 and number 3. LeBron is there, but the rest of this team is very, very bad. So to go back to the value tab, we have Denver projected -13 roughly for this game. I want to show this other tab also so we can see the team ratings this is derived from. Like the Lakers are awful. They're -5.6 as a team. And I'm giving them 1 point manual bump already here because they're on a winning streak. The winning streak, I think, has more to do with their opponents than anything, although they did beat a healthy Miami Heat team at home. They beat the Kings on the road. The Kings are not great. They're an average team. And they beat the Hawks at home. They've had a couple home games, and now they're going on the road. So one other thing here, which is why Denver looks good, is this is the third game in 4 nights for the Lakers. LeBron is probable. I think he plays, but LeBron just played a back-to-back Friday and Saturday. So we've got a tired old LeBron who is legitimately an amazing player still. He's not MVP level, but he's like a second-tier star in the league still. And but he's not a young guy, and this is the third game in 4 nights. So if anyone's going to be disproportionately affected by having a lot of games in a row, you would think LeBron would be at the top of that list. But either way, this is still, Denver is a much, much better team. And that's why this line has already moved from 8.5 to 9.5. So,
right. And if LeBron sits, obviously, it's even a better bet.
Yeah. I think there's almost no chance of that, but he is probable and he's not 100% in, and we could see a downgrade. I'm going to say 93% he plays.
Okay.
That's my made-up number.
The only thing I throw out there that might move that 93 down to 89.4.
Okay.
A quick look at props this morning, and the lines for Russ and Schroeder were pretty high.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with what they just did last game. So maybe I'll just show you this because I don't think it's speculation that LeBron might be out if that's what you're hinting at. Because
so you're just thinking it's because those guys put up good counting stats.
Yeah, check out this box score here. Okay, here we go. First of all, 270 points in regulation. Schroeder played 38 minutes and scored 27 points. Westbrook played 34 minutes and scored 23 with 15 assists. I think the minutes have gone up for both of them, in large part because of Reeves' absence. So I think that's probably why those lines look different than what you're used to see.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting spot, at least Stochastic, at least on their first morning projection, are showing their if you follow their projections versus the line, it actually comes out to positive EV for the unders. But I'm waiting for the next updates before doing anything.
Gotcha. I could see them also not playing those guys the same minutes tonight because Like if the game's not going well, and there is blowout risk here, yeah. Like I think under, you just have to worry that LeBron, if LeBron sits, you don't want to be stuck with under bets on Schroeder and Westbrook because then those would be
Right.
terrible.
Understood.
But maybe
Okay.
near game time, yeah, like it makes sense that the whole Lakers team would be overvalued right now. Like their team total is higher than it should be. The player props are higher than they should be. Yeah, so I think leaning under on everything. Yeah, hold on, I'm on a basketball show. Okay, I'm in a house with people now. I'm usually by myself.
All good.
So-
All right. So we're not going to overthink this one. Denver minus 9.5, solid with
Yeah.
potential to be even better if the very small percentage chance happens that LeBron sits. Let's move
I
on
do
to
want to
the-
show, just before we move on, where the lines currently are, because if you can get 9.5, there aren't many of them.
Yeah, the first couple of places I checked didn't have, but Bet Rivers still had a minus 9.5 as of 5 minutes
Yeah.
ago.
Minus 113, but yeah, I mean, that's better than what else is out there. And I do think this line will trend upward. We could get a weird phenomenon, which has happened in a couple recent Laker games, where once LeBron is confirmed in, even though he's already expected to play, we could get a market reaction to that. So like maybe this line gets to 10 or 10.5, but then once LeBron is confirmed, it drops to 9.5 again. So I think if you only have a minus 10 available, I think it's a legitimately tough call as far as what to do. It's a good bet, but timing I think is a little weird. So if it were me and I hadn't bet this yet and all I have is minus 10 available, I'd probably just like average in, like half unit now, and then whatever it's at before the game, you can add more. Something
Okay,
like
but if
that.
you can get the Bet Rivers 9.5,
Yeah, then-
if you didn't have anything, you'd be betting that right now, right?
For sure, yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let's move to the other game that we showing immediate value that's worth making a bet right now.
Mhm.
Knicks and Bucks, because we just seem to love this Knicks team.
Yeah.
If you can get the 1.5, which is only at DraftKings and FanDuel at the moment.
Yeah.
That
MGM is
3
1.5, but minus 115. DraftKings and FanDuel, FanDuel's minus 112, DraftKings minus 110. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. For the other sites where it's just +1, what's the recommendation? I mean, that's still 2.7 points of value. That should still be a bet, right? If you don't have access to FanDuel or DraftKings or BetMGM.
Yeah, well, the other consideration here is just taking the money line. And it's going to depend what your money line is. So the equivalent for +1.5 generally is +105. Like the expected value of those two numbers is the same. +1.5 on the spread, +105 on the money line.
Okay.
I think at +1, you generally see a minus 105. I would not bet that yet. If you can get +100 or better money line, that I think you take now. And if your spread number is either +1 or it's minus 105 or minus 110, I wouldn't lay odds on the Knicks to win yet, because the public is certainly going to be on Milwaukee here. Like people are going to look at this line and be like, how are the Bucks, who are a championship contender, basically pick them against the Knicks, who are bad? I think most people are going to look at this game this way. The public betting numbers from Action Network, and this is a point I've made a bunch, that I think it's pretty intuitive. It's earlier in the day. The public betting splits don't matter as much because the sample size of them is small. Like not a lot of people have bet on anything yet. So the sample size just doesn't really yet. Like it's not that those numbers are not reliable yet. But so far it does look like it's heavily skewed towards Milwaukee. And I think that just makes sense, right? Like the Bucks are way better than the Knicks in theory. Only in theory.
Okay. And then everybody teams are healthy tonight.
Chris Middleton is still out, which is why the Bucks are not a lot better. And RJ Barrett is still out, which is also why the Knicks are better, because RJ Barrett makes the Knicks worse. So I do have manual adjustments here with where's that? There we go. Yeah, the Knicks are getting a -1 for playing their guys too many minutes. That's the Knicks -1. It's not on screen. Okay, here we go. The Knicks -1 over in the third column there is the standard Knicks adjustment that I give for the team being tired, because all the starters are doing, it's the Tom Thibodeau thing. The Bucks are getting a positive adjustment slightly, because in their most recent game, the starters played 20 minutes each because they lost by 30 at home to the Hornets. That happened on Friday night. If you missed that, a fully healthy Bucks team lost by 30 at home to Charlotte.
I was busy not going to the Sixers game whilst in Philadelphia and 100 yards from the stadium, but sometimes it's just fun to hang out at Xfinity Live.
Yeah, it does sound like a good time.
Given how the game went, was a wonderful decision. All right, I'm seeing for money lines, I'm seeing plus 104 at FanDuel.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think that's worth taking now.
Minus odds at Bet Rivers,
right?
Plus 1 on a bookie site. So maybe that plus 104 at FanDuel is. So you're saying that's the better bet to make as opposed to a plus 1. So I'm not seeing
the plus 104 is much better than plus 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Plus 100 is also better than plus 1, but minus 105 would be equivalent. So I think if you're only seeing plus 1 and minus 105, wait. I mean, it could. This is just going to happen sometimes. Like this game could keep trending downward, and then you just don't wind up with a bet. But this is not a huge edge that we have here. Like it's a 3-point value, but it's only 2.7 at plus 1, and it also is 2.7 in the area right around 0, which we tend to care about less. Like my intuition is that 2 points when you go from 1 to minus 1 is really like 1 point.
Okay.
Like it's an outlier context. Like I think everything in this general area is like half a point to a point worse because of the 0. Just the fact that games don't tend to end much with 1-point margins is why. So like those numbers, like getting plus 1.5 or plus 1, it doesn't buy you as much as like the difference between 6 and 7.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So I think ultimately this is like a half unit to 3/4 unit spot, but only if you can get it plus 100 or better or plus 1.5 or better.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could wait and then the line goes back up later and then you can bet it later. I think that's perfectly reasonable, but if you have the 1.5 or the plus 104 or whatever, now you can take it now.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the value tab.
Yep. Just a quick question from YouTube. Someone was asking if Denver's going to send anyone tonight. They're on an island game, so I'm not really worried about that. I mean, we always are worried about Jokic. There's a little part of me that is always on guard for a Jokic update because, non-COVID illnesses are a common thing right now, but there's no reason to expect anything on the Denver side, so I think we're good there.
Got it. Yep. All right. Yeah. So that Denver bet just looks so really, really solid.
Yeah. Betting against the Lakers. Who would have thought? Okay. Betting on the Knicks and against the Lakers are two favorite things.
All right. So I'm going to save Memphis, San Antonio because I think Boston, Chicago is much more straightforward.
Yeah.
It looks like we have a bet on Boston if Caruso's out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Boston's -8. If he gets rolled out, it's like a 1-unit bet. Yeah. Very much just like wait for that news. When Caruso got ruled out the last 2 times, so I didn't think the market was reacting to him much, but in each of the last 2 games, Caruso was a game time decision and then ultimately ruled out. They had a home game with Utah, and the prior night, the one in Philly, was the same thing. And the line did move by a point when he was ruled out in both cases. So this isn't the kind of thing where you can just... Gary Payton is actually a bit different. Like, the market has no idea that he's good. And Jose Alvarado and some other players. But Caruso is well established. So this line will move from 8 to 9 or so if he's ruled out. So, but if you can time it where you get the -8 when he's ruled out, then it's really good. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I did see an interesting stat that it's always in a vacuum, but Chicago's record against like Boston, Milwaukee, one of the other top teams, they're like 8-1 or 7-1 against 3 of the top teams, and then they're 9-20 against everybody else. So exactly the kind of stat we don't like to talk about here, but
yeah.
Anyway,
there was one I almost was going to tweet about last night if the game went a certain way because Utah was beating Memphis for a brief moment in the second half, and if Utah had beaten the Grizzlies last night, they would have been 6-0 against the Grizzlies and Pelicans this year, and like 15-23 against all the other teams. Yeah, it's just random. Like it's funny, but it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, sometimes matchups do matter, but anyway, we'll keep it simple.
Yeah.
If you can time it right, as soon as you get the Caruso news, if you can get a Boston -8, jump on it.
You don't think there's anything about the Boston Chicago matchup that favors Chicago? It's just a fluke entirely.
I don't see anything that I have to look at the games to see who played, but I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. This is a Boston bet if Caruso's out, if you can get that minus.
You could always make the alternate case like Boston's extra motivated to beat them because Chicago beat them the last 2 times. And then once we start doing that, we're not even talking like this is a not intelligent conversation anymore once we start doing that. But there's a counter argument to every sort of subjective argument like that.
Agreed. We have our process that we're following. This one is, like I said, this one's really straightforward. So we've said it. Now we're going to move on to one of those fun games where we have lots of moving pieces. So let's talk Memphis and Spurs. And what are we looking for? It looks like if Bane and Morant are in, and that's a solid bet. You don't have to worry about Keldon Johnson news. How else would you play this based on, or how do you expect the timing of these announcements to come in?
So right now the line is 11.5. If everyone for Memphis plays, we have it at 14. I think it's more likely we have a Spurs bet than a Grizzlies bet. Because I don't think there's any way Desmond Bane is playing tonight. I guess if Morant sits again, I still think Bane probably sits. So yesterday, Morant, who had previously been listed questionable, you know what? I have a tweet about this one. I'll try quickly to find it, but I think they were staggering their 2 best scorers for a back-to-back. Memphis played yesterday. Morant was out. Bane has been sitting back-to-backs. So, okay, here we go. I'll just show the tweet. Okay. Yeah, so basically what this says is I was expecting that Morant would be out yesterday because it was the front end of a back-to-back, and Desmond Bane has sat, since he returned this year, the second leg of every back-to-back for injury management. So I think they just continue that. They're playing the Spurs at home. They don't need the full team.
Right. No, I'm with you on what's likely in terms of who's going to sit, but I'm trying to figure out how we're getting this to be a Spurs bet. If Bane and Morant are out, that's 3.5 net points. So that would only make it a 1 point. Where's the value for Spurs in that situation?
There are 4 Grizzlies players who may not play. I only have 2 listed here because there's not enough room on the spreadsheet. We have Morant is dealing with an injury. Bane is almost certainly out, which is why I don't think we're going to have a Memphis bet. Like, I would be absolutely shocked if Bane plays today, especially because Bane had to do way more in yesterday's game because Morant wasn't there. So Morant, we're not sure. Bane, I think, is basically doubtful. Steven Adams missed yesterday's game with a non-COVID illness. He's worth like half a point to a point, but we don't know if he's going to play. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. sometimes will sit back-to-backs because he's also a guy with a pretty sizable injury track record in recent years. So I think the scenario where all 4 of them are out is extremely unlikely, but I could see Morant and Adams playing and Bane and Jackson not playing.
Okay.
And I think that would give us a marginal Spurs bet. I don't think it would be much, but
how much is Jackson worth? Adams?
Adams is like half a point. Jackson is like around 3. Let me find it. Yeah. It'd be good to have that exact number. Hold on. Jackson is worth almost as much as Bane. All right, hold on. I can give an exact estimate. I don't think Jackson is going to sit, but I think most likely just Bane is going to be out. And then we're not going to have anything.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. But this news can break a lot of different ways. So definitely a day to have Grizzlies PR on. So this is why the Jackson one is quirky, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Because Brandon Clark is projected in 2. There's 5 players. And Clark normally is not that important, but if Adams were out and Jackson were out, or one of the 2 were out, and then Clark is out, now we have compounding behind
Right.
them. Like, I don't know what our projections are going to be because we have 5 players. Clark was out yesterday. He's been hurt lately. So he's projected in at the moment.
Okay.
I think our fair line, if, let's say it's Bane, Jackson, and Clark are out, I think we're looking at a projected line of about 8.
Okay. So if projected line's 8, that's where you're saying in San Antonio, since at least as of right now, you can get Spurs plus 11.5.
Right. Yeah, it would take multiple players to be out for this to be anything.
Yeah.
If everyone besides Bane plays, I guess we have some value on the Grizzlies still.
Yeah, we'd have 2. Yeah, we'd have 2 points.
Yeah.
It's
So that could be fine too.
Being it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
if it's Bane and one other guy, it's probably gone.
Got it.
Yeah. Because
All right,
it's always
so-
hard to project these scenarios when players compound. Because the more minutes we get from who are the main guys we don't want to see if we're rooting for Memphis, it would be Santi Aldama. David Roddy is like the really big one. Like if his rating is like a -4. So the more minutes that are available for that guy, it gets exponentially worse. So that's why if you got like a few players out, like let's say somehow Bane and Morant don't play today, Roddy's playing like 30 plus minutes, then we have massive value on the San Antonio side.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
And we do have Jakob
Apologies.
Poeltl expected to play, so always have to keep an eye on him.
Apologies to Coach Barber if you're watching this. One of my sons played AAU ball for a great coach, Brad Barber, who also coached David Roddy.
Oh, really?
Years later. So anyway,
Hey, I mean, he's in the NBA. He's in the NBA. Like he's good enough to be there.
He's a solid player, but his rating has not looked good this
Yeah.
year. But I'm still holding out positivity.
Okay. He's a rookie or second year guy?
Rookie, Colorado.
Okay, I mean he can get better.
Yeah, and again, a lot of it is just getting minutes.
What were you going to say the other day about Shaedon Sharpe? Because obviously this is a guy who's going to get better. I know this is unrelated to any game today, but his rating is terrible. He's been terrible, but the talent is insane for him.
Yeah, I'll save it for the next game that they play. He's shown enough flashes that I think it's a little strong to say he's been terrible.
Okay.
But anyway,
all right, we'll save that one.
Yeah, and he's got. I mean, I think the defensive upside is huge too. It's not just the offense. But anyway, we shall have my Shaedon Sharpe love fest. So we'll keep an eye on Memphis. Yeah, the compounding is where it gets interesting, and then this is a tough one also because it's not just injuries, but we've got some non-COVID illness that you never know where that could just spread through the team. So as always, keep an eye on the Preaching Sense Twitter account. Matt will try to keep us updated as news is known there. All right, looks like for today, that's probably it for today.
Yeah, we have one future thing that we have to talk about before tonight.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, what's that?
I really don't want to. Okay, fine, let's do it.
Oh no, this isn't jazz related to jazz, is it?
It is not exactly related to the Jazz.
Okay.
The odds aren't coming up. Hold on, I think I got it. Different tab. Too many tabs here. All right, we will have this one momentarily. Okay. This division again, our favorite division.
Yeah.
If the Lakers win tonight, I'm betting the Lakers for the Pacific Division.
I hear you.
They're a game out of first. I don't know how we got here.
Right, and LeBron's cussing at the front office for not making a trade yet. So
right, like they're gonna get somebody, right? Maybe Miles Turner, maybe somebody else, but they're gonna get somebody.
You would think so. I
hate it so much.
I haven't seen. What's the latest on when AD's coming back, or
we
if
don't?
AD's coming?
I think he's doing like some non-contact practices or whatever. He's a little bit away still, but he could be back. He could be back in a few weeks, maybe.
Right.
He could be back by February. That's kind of what I think. But
no, it does show how crazy this division is, because less than 12 minutes ago you were talking about how terrible a team the Lakers are, but at plus 2,100 when they're
Yeah.
a game out. You can't ignore it.
The Lakers are 19 and 21. The Clippers are in first place at 21 and 21.
Yeah. No, I'm
All
with you.
5 teams, actually, I forgot one. The Kings are actually in first right now. 20 and 18. Yeah.
Okay, so that's legit.
I mean, the Kings could be a bet at some point too, but I don't think plus 600 is enough for them. Like, they're just not that good. But
Got it.
the Lakers have upside because of Davis. If
Right.
all these
So
teams
currently
are at
we're-
if all these teams are at full strength, just to like rank this, the Suns are the best, the Warriors are second, the Clippers are third, the Lakers are fourth, and the Kings are fifth. If every team is healthy. The Suns being healthy has not happened yet this year, which is why I'm putting them up there. That might sound weird. We haven't seen Cameron Johnson, Devin Booker, and Chris Paul all on the court together since like October. They have the
Yeah,
highest
I'm
team
with you.
rating of all those teams.
Yeah, I'd have to think I might lean towards the Clippers if they're healthy, but saying when Kawhi and Paul George
Right.
are going to be healthy at the same time and playing at the same time is a tough one. But
Well, all I can give you is the team ratings because opinions, whatever. But the Suns would be about an 8, and the Clippers and Warriors would both be between 5 and 6 if they were all healthy.
yeah, I'm with you. I guess the thing that where I have a tough time with the team ratings is for a team like the Clippers, where the guys just haven't played, like predicting what things are going to look like when those guys are on the floor. And not knowing if Kawhi is, I mean, if he's healthy, he's a top 5 player. So
Yeah, I
I
still
don't know.
don't know. Like, if he's healthy is weird because not if he's playing. If he's 100%, then I would agree.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're getting that. Like, I don't know if that exists anymore. The version of him with no injury concern at all. Like, I think he's playing
with you.
90% healthy.
I'm with you. Let's stick with why you pulled this up.
Okay.
You pulled this up because there's value on the Lakers,
Almost.
especially if they win tonight.
Right. I don't think I'm making this bet yet, but if they go into Denver and win a game that they are not supposed to win, and I
Right.
really hope this doesn't happen, especially because we have the Denver spread, and also because
Right.
we've now recommended bets on at least 2 of these other teams already. The
Mhm.
Warriors and Clippers for sure. I have the Suns from before the season, so I've got 3 of them. I don't want to lose all of those. But if the Lakers somehow win in Denver tonight,
Mhm.
they will probably go from 21-1 to like 9-1 by tomorrow.
Got
I
it.
think they'll
All
be
right.
north
And-
of, if they win tonight, I think they're above a 10% chance to win the division.
Got it. And since I know we picked up some new viewers over the weekend, thank you, Greg, and
Mhm.
Greg's followers. The site where the lines typically stay up even after the game that we've seen is Bet Rivers. So if you
Right.
have access to Bet Rivers, that plus 2,100 is usually good at least an hour after the game. I'm not recommending to wait that long, but and again, we think it's a long shot that the Lakers win tonight.
Right.
Obviously,
We have
we're
them projected
recommending-
to lose by 13, but they could
Yeah.
win. It could happen.
Right. So if that happens, and if you want to get some Lakers plus 2,100, if waiting to see if they
Okay,
win the
so,
game, Bet Rivers is worth.
To stop you there, Bet Rivers has 30-1 now. I think that's
Okay.
worth betting even like just right now. That's enough
Mhm.
of a line. I'm pretty sure the rest of the market is at like 14 or 16-1 on the Lakers everywhere else. So,
Okay.
and also for the people who don't know Bet Rivers, if you have Barstool, if you have Unibet, if you have Sugar House, those are identical. Those are all clones. They all have the same lines, and they all operate the same way. They have the same like odds provider. So
All right. So and I would,
30-1 is the bet. I would make it now. Yeah,
gotcha. And typically, I'm
I hate it
just
so
following
much.
Bet
though.
Rivers. So in terms of when the futures bets stay up, is it the same at Unibet and Barstool?
Yeah, they're all they're exactly the same.
All right.
So even if this line moves from 30 to 20 or whatever before the game,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm going to bet it now at 30. And then if they win, I'm going to bet more. That's basically where I'm at. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really hard to recommend bet sizing for futures that are, one, the time span of them is so long. Like the season's not
Right.
over for a while. And 2, it's such a long shot. That's going to be specific to everyone's like bankroll and how much they're willing to devote to futures, like their liquidity, how much they need money in the short run, all of that. So I don't even want to recommend a bet size, but there is value for sure.
Got it.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
because I was hoping the Lakers would lose every game, but there is value, unfortunately.
Got it. Okay. All right. Anything else for discussion today?
I'm going to do a quick check here for back-to-backs for tomorrow. I actually don't think we have any, though. I think we're kind of
Okay.
just okay. Lines are always posted around 5, 6 p.m., so I may start. I think I'm going to make more of a habit of tweeting the day before of what I'm looking at for the following day, like I did last night with that Denver tweet. So follow the Twitter account for that. Like I'm making more of a habit out of that. But
Got it.
I don't think we have any back-to-backs of teams. Yeah, no one that plays tonight is playing tomorrow. So it'll be island games for tomorrow, and we'll deal with them as they come in.
Gotcha. All right. Keep an eye on the Preaching Sense Twitter account throughout the day. Matt will update us as news comes in. And as he just said, he'll try to be tweeting for tomorrow's games. Excuse me. For tomorrow's games at some point this evening. Memphis Grizzlies PR account is another one
Yes.
to be following. And, on days like today, we're recommending actually have push notifications
Good reminder. Doing it right now.
Yeah, so set the push notifications for Grizzlies PR. Underdog NBA always is a good one to have since that's kind of the consolidating site for all the injuries. There you go. And then, it's Grizzlies _PR. And then, again, not just following that, but we're recommending put push notifications on. So if there's, particularly if it's breaking news, hopefully you can still get your bets in. All right, so in the same, it's a fun Monday when we're saying how bad the Lakers are, but go run and bet some plus 3,000. So let's see what happens tonight. We got some recommended bets. Hopefully you guys got those in. Good luck us, and we'll be back tomorrow 10:15 with Mr. Lockie, so we'll have the whole gang back together. Thanks, guys.